Paul Monaghan, the show is yours.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure being here this afternoon. I went to Graceland the day before Elvis died. I carried 3 jumpsuits to him. 2 of them were long sleeve, 1 of them was short sleeve. Well, Elvis didn't like the short sleeve jumpsuit. So I told him, I said, Elvis, I'll get you another. I'll get it out here to you before your plane leaves. And he said, fine. I spent the afternoon with Elvis, the day before he died. And it was really a pleasant afternoon. We chit-chatted, and I seen him in Graceland, walked around, got shown everything. He gave me an album before I left. He got me an autographed picture. I gave Elvis a bunch of badges that I had found in the safe at the Sheriff's Department that were real old. He collected badges, and it was an opportunity for me to do something for him, something that he would appreciate. And Elvis was in a good mood. Things were going great. He was packed up. Everyone was ready to go on a concert to him. So that afternoon when I got ready to leave, I told him, I said, I will get your jumpsuit back to you. Went out and got in my car, and the car wouldn't break. Kind of a bad deal. But Elvis had Tom Henley and some of his people get together. They got my old car cranked up for me, and I left. Went on back down to my office. That night, Elvis went out. He played racquetball with Billy and Joanne, and I think they had a good time. Then the next day, which was the 16th, I had to go out to Southern Uniforms and pick up the jumpsuit that I told Elvis I would bring him. Well, I left home that morning and did several assignments that I had, but by noon I had to go to pick up the uniform and the jumpsuits. I went to Southern Uniform, picked it up, had Elvis's name on it, shoulder patches and signatures and everything. Went back to my office, and this was probably around 1 o'clock or a little later. But as I was taking care of my business, I received a call. And the call was from Tom Henley. Tom worked for Elvis. His wife's name was Trish. She was the nurse that took care of Elvis. She gave him his medication at night. She checked in on him quite frequently to make sure things were going right. And Tom told me, he said, Elvis has died. Well, I couldn't believe it. You know, I had just been out there. I had just seen the man, talked to him. I couldn't tell there was a problem, you know. But in the background, it was chaos. You could hear people screaming, crying, everything. And it was like wildfire in Memphis. Once the word spread, everyone knew. Everyone was talking. Everything seemed to come to a stop. For a moment, the world stood still. I just, you know, I found it totally unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable that something like that could happen. I had my concert tickets. I was ready to go to the show. So after Tom called, I sat in my office for a short period of time, and then I made a call to Graceland. I called and I talked to Vernon, and Vernon told me, yes, Elvis had passed away. Well, I really didn't know what to do, but I offered Vernon the services from the Shelby County Sheriff's Department. I had talked to Sheriff Barksdale, and he told me, look, whatever you do, whatever help we can give Elvis's family, we're willing to do it. You go out there, you talk to Vernon, and you got carte blanche to do whatever's necessary. So after talking to Vernon, I left the office and I drove to Graceland. I drove through the back gates. I had never seen so many people accumulate in such a short period of time. The area in front of Graceland, and many of you have seen it, was just covered with people, thousands and thousands and thousands of people. You couldn't hardly work your way through the crowd. But there was a back gate around the side of the church, and that's the gate that I went through. I went in and I talked to Vernon and talked to some of the security staff there at Graceland, seeing what the situation was, and it was total chaos. It was just unreal. People could not believe what had transpired, what was going on. People really didn't know how to respond. You had media from all over the world at your front door, and people were literally climbing over the fences, running through the gates, coming in any way they possibly could to verify what had happened. Phone lines were jammed. You couldn't get a call out, couldn't get a call in. Unreal. I had never, ever in my life seen a situation like that. I can remember back when President Kennedy died. I was in a high school working, and that was one of those moments again when the world stood still. But when Elvis died, it was the same thing, only it lasted so much longer. It was just unreal. In a matter of hours, there were thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people, fans, that had gathered in front of Graceland. The news media was unreal. There were thousands and thousands of news people from all over the world. And those that weren't there were calling. They wanted to know what happened. Was Elvis in fact dead? Well, there had been a press release to the effect that yes, Elvis had passed away. But it was undecided at that time what they would do. Elvis, being as he was, they had to share the event with the world, whether they wanted to or not. Colonel Parker came in. There was discussion of having services at the Mid-South Coliseum, which is a facility where Elvis had entertained at one time. And that was mulled over for a pretty good while, but because of security reasons, that was ruled out. As you well know, they finally ended up having services at Graceland. It was a very limited amount of people that attended the actual services, but there was visitation. And during that period of time, Elvis's body was displayed in the foyer, and I stood directly in front of his casket for better than 8 hours. And as I did, people filed in, filed around me, viewed the body, and then came back out. And if you can imagine 10,000 or 100,000 people in a line coming around and going out, I saw every kind of emotion that could be expressed, from small children to very elderly people. But it was a very dignified crowd, a very somber crowd that came and that viewed Elvis, paid their respects, and left.